Hey guys, so as some of you are aware, about 4 weeks ago, Japanese government changed their guidelines in relation to masks and said that it was up to the individuals to decide if they wanted to wear them or not, inside or outside, whether they wanted to wear them all the time or wear them not at all was totally up to the individual to decide. And to his credit, on the 13th of March, Prime Minister Kishida, the day that the guidelines changed, he stopped wearing a mask and he hasn't worn one since. So the only place that we're required to wear one now is in hospitals or healthcare type facilities. That's the only place we're expected to wear them now. So some of us have not worn a mask at all since that day. And as we predicted, a high percentage, a major majority of the population are still wearing masks in Japan. So no surprises there. They used to love the mask before COVID, and since COVID, they love it even more. So if you haven't seen the Loving the Mask video, check that out because we covered that fairly extensively there. However, what triggered this video was that there was a survey done this week of school-aged kids, so elementary school kids and high school kids, and they found that 66%, about 66% of kids wanted to continue wearing masks because they wanted to hide their faces. So that was the reason that they gave. They didn't want to have their faces out, and that's exactly been our experience. What we're finding is young kids don't care. We find that 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds, they don't care about wearing a mask. They're quite happy to just free range, so they don't worry about such things. So they're happy not to wear it, and you'll often see little kids, like kindergartens and places like that, they didn't wear them at all during the pandemic either. So yeah, usually the little kids that we see in our family and neighbours and friends and people like that, usually they don't wear masks and they don't want to. So up to about 8, 9 years old, usually they're not into it. But what we're finding is from about 9, 10 years old up to about 20 years old, they're just all wearing them. So we would suspect those statistics that they did were fairly broad. We would suspect if they narrowed it down to the 10-year-olds to 20-year-olds, they'd probably find it was the majority. We would suspect more like 95% of them because they just, from about 9, 10 years old up to about 20 years old, all the ones that we know love wearing the mask and don't want to take it off. And you can just imagine they started wearing it when they were, 7 years old, 8 years old, and they're sort of turning into young teenagers and their faces have never been out in public. Everywhere they've gone for the last 3 years, their faces have been hidden away. So it would feel strange for them. They can't, a lot of them, kids in our family, we talked about it recently, a lot of them can't remember life without wearing a mask. So for them to walk around now with no mask on, so that really bothers us because all these adults loving the mask, that's sort of just mildly entertaining. We don't really care who wears a mask and who doesn't. But it's really sad, isn't it, when young kids don't want to take the mask off because they don't want their face exposed in public. I mean, that's really unhealthy, isn't it? It's unhealthy physically and it's unhealthy psychologically, isn't it? So that's a bit of a tragedy. We know kids in our family, trying to get them to not wear it is really difficult. We'll be out somewhere and they'll have it on. We don't have to wear a mask here. Take it off, And they take it off and you look back at them 5 minutes later and they've got it back on again. You'll see kids here doing what kids and adults have been doing for the last 3 years. They'll be in a restaurant. They'll have the mask on. They'll pull it down to their chin, take a sip of their drink, and then pull it back up again, up to their nose again. Cover their face again, and then put it down again, and then put some food in their mouth, and then put it up to their nose again, which is just tragic. It's also not very scientifically worthwhile, of course, from a scientific point of view, but it's become purely a social crutch or some sort of social shield to hide themselves from the world. So it's sort of sad. We're doing all we can to help the kids, discourage the kids from doing it. The other problem, of course, is that the kindergartens and the schools and the high schools are still telling the teachers to wear masks. As are a lot of these businesses too. Like we're looking at Family Mart convenience store there. The customers don't have to wear a mask. All those customers that you're seeing are wearing them just because they love it. But the staff are told that they should wear one. And they've still got the plastic. See the ridiculous plastic up there as well as some sort of shield against flying diseases or something. So, but the staff have to wear one. It's the same with the schools. So that's the other thing, is that the role models, the teachers, are all wearing masks. So, it would help if they want to discourage the kids from wearing them. It would help to tell the teachers to stop wearing them as well. I mean, we'd like to see, I mean, everybody has different opinions on this. We'd like to see the schools tell them nobody should wear a mask, none of the kids and none of the teachers, just to get the kids back into living normal lives, because it's not healthy, is it? It's not healthy. And again, adults do it, we don't care, but when kids do it, it's just a shame growing up like that, not being able to see people's faces and people not being able to see their faces. It's just not healthy, is it? So not healthy physically or psychologically, hiding away behind the mask. So anyway, that's what's happening at the moment in Japan. Again, we know every time we make one of these videos, you can't talk about a mask or COVID without upsetting people. There's always a bunch of people who think that we take it too seriously, and a bunch of other people who think we don't take it seriously enough. So people always get grumpy when we make these videos. Either just thumb down the video quietly, or they'll leave comments. And again, just quickly, different opinions on this and on any video that we make. Different opinions are always welcome, but rudeness and abuse are not. So, if you don't like the topic, that's fair, but please keep your responses polite. Anyway, that's what's happening in Japan. More videos coming soon.